In this video, I talk to you about the safety concerns of modeling in resin.
Warning, Uncle Adam is not a professional. He's usually not even very good. Try any and all of Uncle Adam's pro tips at your own risk. Void where prohibited. Uncle Adam is not actually an uncle.
I just want to go over this real quickly because it just recently came up in my modeling life. I'm building a lot of terrain right now because I'm going to be doing battle reports here on the channel, and I'm going through a whole bunch of old armor cast terrain pieces that I've been sitting on for years, and like a decade or more, and I need to do a bunch of work on these, and they're all made out of resin. The thing about resin is that it's a pretty cool material to work with. It's about as light as, say, like a plastic, so it's not as hard to work with as metal sometimes can be, but yet it's also very easy for someone literally in their basement to be able to make pieces with it, because you just have to mix two parts of this chemical together and then pour it into the mold. You don't need super fancy, expensive, injection molding like you do with plastics and things like that. So it's got a lot of benefits, but there are also some safety concerns as well. And that's what I want to touch on. Any good modeler worth their salt, as soon as they open a kit to take out the parts, obviously you're going to start looking for mold lines, flashing, any kind of unevenness. You're going to kind of chip away at it with your hobby knife, and you're probably going to do some sanding and filing. And that's where the trouble comes with resin. The dust that comes from resin is especially irritating to the inside of your lungs. So when you work with resin, there's two things that you should consider, and if you really can, you should try to do both of them at the same time. Number one is you want to wear a mask. I don't mean a Halloween mask. I mean like a good, if you have to and you have one of those paper ones with the little rubber band, that's, if that's all you got, that's all you got. But what you'd really be best having is some sort of respirator type thing, with the two things on the side and 28 head straps and the whole deal. Those will really help to protect your lungs and keep those pieces of particulate that are going to start floating around from, they're going to keep them out of your nose, keep them out of your mouth, and then, keep them out of your lungs. Another good idea as well is to do something known as wet sanding. And it pretty much is what it sounds like. You get your sandpaper wet, and as you are sanding on the piece that you're working on with wet sandpaper, dust doesn't fly off nearly as much because everything's wet. And so it can help you with the surface and a little bit with the smoothness as well. But one of the big deals about wet sanding is that it helps to keep all that particulate from floating around too much in the air. The particulate gets wet and then it doesn't float. So if you can do both the mask, just to be completely safe, and also wet sanding at the same time, then you should have no problems using resin. But I just want to let you guys know about it because there's a lot of resin out there. There's a lot of small companies that do things like, the scenic bases, a lot of terrain, small companies that are making resin models and things like that. And, and then even things as like Forge World from Games Workshop. All these different kinds of resin things can get very aerosoled if you use sandpaper, files, anything like that. And you don't want those particles in your lungs. Trust me.